I asked for 120 minutes once a week. She weaponized it against me. So I turned her own calendar into the most satisfying revenge you'll hear this year. 2 hours. That's all I asked for. One tiny window every Tuesday to remember I'm a person, not a machine. She called it selfish, a threat to us. So I counted every minute, traced every excuse, and turned her accusations into the sharpest revenge I've ever planned. It started with a receipt she swore didn't exist. If you've ever been told that your boundaries are selfish, hit like and subscribe. Stories like this keep us reminded that protecting your sanity isn't cruelty, it's survival. All right, settle in. Here's how 2 hours became my breaking point and my justice. My life was a metronome. 6:30 alarm, shower and steam that never felt hot enough, the same shirt rotation that never looked different in the mirror, and coffee gulped too fast to taste. I'd be in the office by 8, under fluorescent lights that bleached faces into paper, the low hum of printers, and the persistent ping of emails that arrived like hail. 10 hours later, I'd drive home with a hollowed-out brain, pull into the same spot, climb the same 3 flights, and unlock the door to the same loop that I live with Nora. 3 years together, 1 year sharing a lease. 2 toothbrushes in the same holder pointing in the same direction like they're marching. We cook together, and most nights, we cue another episode of whatever series is safe and beige. Saturday mornings we grocery shop. The list is a set of grooves we trace with a pen: eggs, greens, chicken, rice, detergent. Sundays we mop, vacuum, call our parents. And if you measured the shape of those weekends against the ones before, you'd need calipers to find a difference that it wasn't that I didn't love her. We laughed. We had the habit of slipping arms around each other in the kitchen and staying like that while a pan hissed. She'd recount office gossip like it was a serialized drama, and I'd try to listen. Lately, I'd find my mind drifting. I was tired in a way sleep didn't touch. Not depressed, at least I didn't think so, but compressed. My days were photocopies, and the toner was running out. A month ago, I decided to cut a slit in the copy machine. On Tuesdays, I told her, I want 2 hours after work just for me. The idea felt embarrassingly small, like asking permission to breathe. I'll go to the gym, read at the cafe down the street, maybe just walk. Unplug. I'll be back by 8. We'll still cook. We'll still watch something. I expected an eye roll. I got a flinch. You don't have time for the relationship as it is, she said, like she'd been keeping the sentence in her pocket. We hardly see each other. It startled me. We eat together almost every night. We clean together. We spend weekends with our families or friends. But once she said it, I saw her anchoring to it, using it as a lever. Free time is little, therefore any of it that's not us is theft. I tried to explain that the need was internal. It's not you, I said. It's the sameness. I feel like I'm on rails. I need a window. Everyone feels tired, Leo, she said. That's life. You don't see me demanding hours alone. It wasn't a fight. It was a closing. The air of the room thickened. She went quiet in that way that collapses the space between you. No shouting, just the kind of silence that makes your footsteps sound like you're in the wrong house. I swallowed it. I told myself I'd try again later, and I did. And each time the words clattered off the same lock. The Tuesday, I tried anyway. I told her in the morning, I'm going to the gym after work. She nodded without looking at me, stirring her oatmeal like it might confess something. After work, I changed in the office locker room and went to the gym for 45 minutes. The clang of plates, the mechanical rhythm of treadmills, the way my pulse crawled back to me, mindless comforts. Then I walked the long way home, past the bakery with the sticky window and the bookstore that smells like laundry and paper. I didn't rush. I was testing the shape of a boundary. At 7:58, I opened our door. She was on the couch, TV paused on a frozen face, arms crossed. How was your me time? She asked. She said it like a brand name. I stepped into the kitchen, washed my hands, told her it was fine, that I felt looser. She sighed like I'd confessed an affair. That night, she barely spoke. She watched the show we usually chat through and let it run over us like white noise. When we went to bed, her back was a wall. A small one, but it blocked the path anyway. The next morning, she sent me a text at 9:12, the kind of message that reads like it's pretending not to be a headline. I think you're prioritizing yourself over us. I typed and deleted a dozen replies. I settled on, it's 2 hours. I want to be good with me, so I can be better with us. I didn't send the part that said I felt like a battery powering a life I wasn't sitting inside, that we kept orbiting it. She pulled the free time is little clause like it was written into our lease. She'd say, we should take a pottery class on Tuesdays. Or a couples yoga. Tuesdays specifically, like she wanted to fill the hole with something that had both our names on it. I offered other nights. Wednesday, I said. Thursday, I'll make dinner those nights. We can pick a series we actually care about. She'd shake her head. Tuesdays are the only night I'm not crushed by work. That's our window. She said our like she needed it to absorb mine, that here's the part one need to admit because it mattered later. I don't always remember the details she tells me. Not because I don't care, but because at 9 at night after a 10-hour day, my brain is sawdust. She'll mention a coworker conflict or her friend's baby shower plan, and I'll nod. But a week later she'll say, remember when I told you? And the film strip in my mind will be blank. That's on me. That's the exhaustion. It's the glue that makes control look like concern because it sticks to everything. By the second Tuesday, she made quality time plans unilaterally. We're meeting my cousin at 7, she announced in the morning, like it was weather. I told her I had my 2 hours. I offered Wednesday with the cousin. Can't, she said. She's busy. You can be flexible. Flexible. As in bend until the shape isn't yours. That I still went. I walked without earbuds to hear my own footsteps, the scrape of leaf against sidewalk. I found an alley cat asleep in a slant of sun and envied it. At 7:55, I texted, leaving cafe now. Home in 5. Her reply came instantly, don't bother. I'm already at the restaurant. The implication sat there. I had chosen myself over family. She sent a photo from the table, her cousin doing a duck face, 2 empty chairs. I stared at it on the sidewalk, cars whispering by. I felt the kind of tired that rolls up your spine and changes how you hold your head. When I got home, she wasn't there. The apartment smelled faintly like her perfume from when she had passed through to grab her coat. I waited. When she came in, she narrated the dinner as if reporting a crime. Her cousin is disappointed. I had to make excuses for you. Everyone's wondering why you're suddenly so unavailable. There it was, the first spreading ripple. My private request had become a public flaw that I slept next to her, but not with her. Me on my side of the bed, eyes on the ceiling, hearing the street sweepers draw along the curb. I counted minutes, then counted other things. The number of times she'd used the word selfish that week, 3. The number of Tuesdays in a year, 52. The number of times I'd eaten dinner without tasting it, lost count. I tried to calm the indignation, tried to out-reason it with empathy. She's scared of distance, I told myself. She thinks space is a prelude to leaving. Still, I woke with my jaw aching from clenching it in sleep. By the third Tuesday, the atmosphere was different before I even said anything. She was friendly in the morning, big-eyed and soft-voiced. Let's do something new tonight, she said. There's a pop-up market near the square. We could go together. She kissed my cheek like a contract. I told her I'd still like my 2 hours. Her mouth did the thing where it smiles without moving. Of course, she said. If that's more important. I didn't know what to do with the sarcasm in soft clothes. I went out anyway, but I was looking over my shoulder now. At the cafe, I didn't read. I watched the door. I noticed how many people were laughing in ones and twos without anyone accusing them of neglect. At 7:15, my phone buzzed 6 times in 5 minutes. Where are you now? Are you coming home yet? Should I start dinner alone? This is getting ridiculous. I typed, deleted, typed again, finally sent. Please stop. I'll be home by 8. The dots pulsed. Then nothing. At 7:50, she called. Don't worry about it. I ate, she said, voice flat. I don't want to hold you back. When I came home with fresh bread in a paper bag, she was washing a single plate. She went to bed early with a headache. The next morning, she posted a story, a photo of our couch, caption quality time is rare. Don't waste it. People hearted it like they were voting. I felt that vote against me that it's crucial to say here. The relationship otherwise was functional. We shared chores. We did birthdays well. We split bills evenly. She hugged me when my boss snapped at me in a meeting and told me I was good at what I do. We weren't drowning, but I felt a hand around my ankle every Tuesday as I stepped up for air. The 4th Tuesday, I didn't tell her I was leaving. I left a note, 2 hours. I love you. Back at 8. I walked a new loop. The sky had that pinkness that makes buildings blush. A kid dropped his ice cream and looked at it like betrayal. His dad bought him another. I tried to memorize that small mercy for later. I paused outside a bar called Blue Hour because the name made me think of the time between work and home. Those soft edges where things might change their shape. When I pushed our door at 8:03, she was on the phone with someone on speaker. She didn't end the call. "He's back," she said to the ether. "From his me time." She let the phrase hang there. Then to me. I waited. Again. "But it's fine. Do we have to make this a morality play?" I asked. "It's 2 hours, Nora." 2 hours is a lot when it's every week, she said quickly, like she'd practiced. "It adds up." To what? I thought. To me still wanting to be a human? That night, she rolled away from me in bed and sighed hard. At 2 a.m., my eyes were open, the room blue with streetlight, my heart tapping like it wanted out. I went to the kitchen for water, opened the fridge for the light. There, tucked between the margarine and a bag of grapes, was a receipt peeking from the pocket of her denim jacket, slung over a chair. I didn't go looking for it. It was almost falling out. Blue Hour Bar. 6:58 p.m. 2 cocktails. Truffle fries. I held it in my hand like it might be hot. She had texted that she waited. She had posted about quality time. She had answered the phone like a martyr. At 7 o'clock, she'd been out drinking 2 blocks from the cafe where I'd been trying to read the same paragraph for 20 minutes. On the same street. Under the same pink sky. When I slid the receipt back, my pulse had slowed to something clear. The story she was telling about my 2 hours wasn't true. Not completely. And when someone insists you're selfish while eating fries 2 doors down from where you're guilt for breathing, something inside you aligns. I went back to bed and lay on my back and watched the ceiling fan turn and thought, okay, if you won't let me have a boundary, I'll make one. If you turn my space into a trial, I'll turn the trial into evidence that I didn't sleep. But I did decide. The revenge wouldn't be loud. It would be neat. The neatness would be the point. The thing about control dressed as concern is that it maps itself onto your weaknesses. Mine is guilt. My parents are the devotion type. Dad still warms my mom's car before she leaves for work in winter. Mom packs him lunches with handwritten notes. They believe in showing up. Showing up had become a phrase that rattled in my head every time I closed the front door on Tuesdays. Nora knew it. She said it often. "You don't show up anymore." As if my feet in our hallway any other hour were invisible. After I found the Blue Hour receipt, I didn't confront her immediately. It would have turned into an argument about tone, about why are you snooping, about everyone is allowed to drink with a friend. I needed a pattern, not a spark. Pattern's convict. Sparks burn out. The next Tuesday, she texted at 5:45. "Are you doing your thing again?" The phrase had grown contempt like mold. "Yes," I typed. "I'll be home by 8. Want me to pick up anything?" She didn't answer. At 6:12, she sent a photo. A bowl of pasta, steam staged under warm light. "Cooked for us. Shame you're not here." I stared at the image. It was plated for one. I walked anyway. My body had started learning the ritual. Down the hill past the dog park where the evening regulars greeted each other with the same jokes. Across the bridge with the peeling paint. Onto the main street that smelled like yeast and gasoline. I ducked into the cafe and ordered a tea because the barista had begun to nod at me like I was a season ticket holder. I opened a book and read 2 sentences 3 times. Then I put the book down and watched people who looked alive in their own skin. At 7:40, a notification buzzed on my phone. Our joint card, $26.50, Blue Hour Bar. I stared. My chest did a weird thing, a squeeze then an unwinding. I finished my tea. On the walk home, I looked through Blue Hour's front window as I passed. Nora wasn't there. Or if she was, I didn't see her. But I knew the receipt would be waiting again like a calling card with the corners oiled by the jacket pocket. "At home." She was bright. "I made pasta. Yours is in the fridge," she said. "We can watch one before bed." Her brightness had the sheen of something lacquered. She didn't ask about my 2 hours. She didn't want to know if they had done what they were meant to do. She wanted me to feel the weight of the leftovers. That I felt a shift in my own body that night. Anger with bones. Up until then, I'd narrated the whole thing as my failure to be present. I tried to hold empathy in both hands because empathy is noble and tired people love noble things. But nobility without boundaries is a self-harm ritual. On some level, she didn't want Tuesday to exist because it proved a kind of independence she couldn't name without shaking. Midweek, she leaned into the public story. She posted another couch picture, another caption about priorities. She told her cousin I was becoming distant. She told our mutual friend Maya that she worried I was planning my exit. Maya texted me privately, "You okay? Want to talk?" The assumption that I was doing something wrong packed its own indictment. I didn't want to recruit anyone to my side yet. I wanted proof. Proof makes friends stop tilting their heads at you like you're not finishing your vegetables. So I began the Tuesday audit. Step 1. Visibility. I turned on location sharing between us under the pretense of safety. In case of emergencies, I said over breakfast, crafting my voice into casual. She nodded and turned hers on too. An hour later, she texted, "Okay, safety boy. A joke. Fine." Step 2. Receipts. I enabled transaction alerts for our joint card. We used it mostly for groceries and utilities, but sometimes for dinners. Now it would chirp when Blue Hour chirped. Step 3. Pattern logging. I set up a private calendar titled 120. Each Tuesday, I noted where I went, where she said she was, where she actually was based on location pings and transactions, and, yes, public restaurant tags. Blue Hour loved posting their truffle fries on stories. People loved tagging Blue Hour when they ordered them. People like Nora. The Tuesday after that, I told her we could do dinner if I got back by 8. She smiled without teeth and said, "We'll see." At 6:28, the joint card chimed. Blue Hour bar, $34.20. My phone said her dot was there. I took a picture of the map, a little blue bubble parked on the corner like an accusation. At 7:02, she texted home. I looked up at the cafe ceiling and breathed. I typed, "On my way soon." "Everything okay?" She sent, "Just wondering," and a minute later posted, "When did us become optional?" In white font on a beige background that I didn't confront. I cooked when I got home, plated it, and ate with her while she recounted an office meltdown about a spreadsheet. I made the right noises. She asked why I seemed checked out. I said I was just tired. She said, "Tuesday must be exhausting," and smirked like a magician putting a rabbit back in a hat. The escalation was quiet but relentless. She began scheduling things on Tuesdays like she wanted to squat on the space. Pottery class. They only had Tuesday availability. Trivia night with her cousin. Tuesdays are the fun nights. Her dad's birthday dinner. It's on a Tuesday this year. Obviously, we have to go. When I offered to go on Wednesdays or Thursdays or literally any day that wasn't the only one I'd asked to keep, she tilted her head and said I was being inflexible. Inflexible is a word that sticks because it suggests you're brittle, that you will snap under pressure instead of bend into the shape the other person prefers. Meanwhile, my body kept score, jaw tight in the mornings, temples pulsing mid-afternoon, lungs shallow by 5 like I'd forgotten how to breathe for an entire decade. Sleep turned grainy. I'd lay there and inventory my own life like an auditor. 10 hours, fluorescent lights, email hail, drive home, cook, couch, show bed. My brain wanted a different paragraph. My life kept pasting the same one. The first close call came during week 5 of the audit. I was leaving the Blue Hour area because habit had me walking past it now, like I needed to see the stage props before the performance. I recognized Nora's laugh, not because it's loud, but because there's a particular hitch in it when she's letting someone else lead. I turned my head and saw her at a high top with 2 glasses sweating on napkins and a woman I didn't know. They were leaning in. Nora's body language. Feet angled toward the door, shoulders tight, smile pressed into dutiful shape. Not a date. This wasn't that story. This was the hypocrisy story. She wasn't at home feeling abandoned while I chose myself. She was out. She was fine. She wanted me to believe I was breaking us while she refused to acknowledge that she still had her own me. She just didn't want mine to exist. That I kept walking. I didn't wave. I didn't take a picture like a creep. I put another tick in the column called reality. At home that night, she met me at the door. "I waited," she said with those damp eyes that make you feel like a vandal. I blinked slowly and put my keys in the bowl and hummed something noncommittal. She followed me into the kitchen. "This is getting unfair," she said. "I'm trying to build a life with you. You're acting like a roommate." "I am your roommate," I said, pulling out a pan. "And your partner. Both are allowed to sometimes be alone. You think being alone makes you better." She shot back quietly, with precision. "It just makes you selfish." I could have mentioned Blue Hour. I could have mentioned the receipt wedged in her jacket. I could have mentioned how my phone chimed every time her card tapped a bar reader. But if I showed my hand too soon, she'd call it surveillance, and we'd slide into a different argument where the topic wasn't the topic. Control is good at changing topics. WY Week 6. I had a litany: transaction alerts, location screenshots, 3 sightings of her Tuesday outings, 2 separate Instagram stories by friends with her tagged in Blue Hour's booth, and exactly 0 dinners actually cooked for 2 on Tuesdays despite the posts lamenting my absence. I also had a body that felt less like a fist. Those 2 hours weren't fixing everything. They weren't therapy, they weren't a sabbatical, but they were a wedge that kept the machine from sealing me in. I could feel my shoulders drop in the last half mile before home. It mattered. She escalated publicly again, this time, telling our friend group in the group chat, "If anyone wants to do something Tuesdays, I'm free because someone is busy being a lone wolf." She added a wolf emoji. People laughed with reaction faces, and a couple of our friends texted me privately with the coach voice. "Bro, relationships are compromise." The implication was a shrug. The implication was that I was playing singles tennis on a doubles court. It was time to stop gathering and start setting the stage. I made a plan in layers, the same way I had taught myself to meal prep when money was tight. Layer 1. Neutralize the "we hardly see each other" narrative. I combed our calendars and built a simple timeline. Monday, together, cooking plus show. Tuesday, my 2 hours, home by 8. Wednesday, together, we'd been doing dinner with Maya every other week. Thursday, together, errands, bills. Friday, together, we'd been defaulting to takeout plus movie. Saturday, together, groceries plus family. Sunday, together, laundry plus parents plus reset. I exported messages where she'd thank me for cleaning and helping her with a presentation on a Thursday at 9 p.m. I found the photo of the bed frame we built together on a Sunday afternoon and the heart she'd put under it. I put the pictures and timestamps on a single page for visual, not to embarrass her, but to show the math. People understand math. Layer 2. Expose the hypocrisy without me looking like a detective. I reached out to Blue Hour, not as a jealous boyfriend, as a customer. "I'm planning a surprise for my girlfriend who loves your truffle fries," I wrote. "Do you do gift reservations for a table for 2 on Tuesdays?" The manager, a guy named Elliot, emailed back effusively, "Absolutely. And by the way, he recognized me vaguely from walking by." Over a few emails, I asked about their busiest night. He said, "Tuesdays are oddly strong. Regulars love our DJ." I asked if they keep any photos for their social. He said they rarely tag people unless people tag them first. "If your girlfriend has tagged us before, we can do something cute," he wrote. I scrolled Blue Hour's tag page. There she was, 3 weeks back, clinking glasses with a caption, "Saving my sanity with my girl." Sanity. I breathed in through my nose and out through my teeth. Layer 3. Adjust the audience. The conversation couldn't be in our living room. In there, it would muffle. She'd call me controlling. I'd fight the word, and we'd both crack in private with no witness to weigh the balance. So I picked a setting that was both soft and undeniable. A dinner with our small circle: Maya, her boyfriend, Nora's cousin, and 2 friends who'd absorbed Nora's narrative. A birthday dinner for Nora, coming up in 3 weeks on a Thursday. I made the reservation at a calm place with good lighting. I called ahead and arranged for a small private corner. I spoke to the manager and asked if they could help bring out a memory book at dessert. He laughed and said, "Like a proposal?" I said, "Kind of, but no." He said, "We love drama." Layer 4. The book. I designed it on a print-on-demand site. Minimalist. Linen cover. Title stamped in gold. "The 2 hours you couldn't give me." Inside, the timeline of our week. Screenshots of "we hardly see each other" next to our shared calendar full of us. The joint card notifications from Blue Hour on 5 separate Tuesdays with timestamps between 6:30 and 7:30. The location shared dots, the public tags. Not to humiliate. No snark. No commentary. Just a museum of facts. In the final pages, a short letter. I asked for 120 minutes once a week so I wouldn't disintegrate. You turned those minutes into a morality test while taking yours in secret. I don't need you to want what I want. I need you to stop punishing me for wanting it. The last page would be a boundary. I'm moving out. The lease will be transferred to you. Beneath it, a photo of the keys in a small dish labeled ours. I booked movers for the morning after the dinner. I'd already signed a short-term lease on a studio 5 blocks away, a place with a window that faced west, so the light would be golden at 6. I stacked my essentials in boxes within boxes inside the hall closet, so it looked like nothing had changed. I opened a new bank account. I changed the password on my cloud. I bought a second toothbrush and stuck it in a holder in a new bathroom that was only mine. There were moments I doubted. In those, my body didn't lie. It relaxed when I pictured the studio and my Tuesday walks unargued. It clenched when I pictured more couch posts about quality time. I was supposedly bleeding dry. And there was a voice in me that grew louder, the one that said, "Revenge isn't cruelty if it's simply the truth presented well." The neatness would be the blade point. 1 week before the dinner, Nora upped the volume. She cornered me in the kitchen and said she'd put up with my Tuesdays long enough. "It's time to pick. Us or your routine," she said, chin lifted like she was offering a coin toss. "I'm picking both," I said, calm because the plan had become a map. "I'm keeping Tuesdays." She slammed the drawer hard enough to rattle the spoons. She texted her cousin. My phone pinged with the cousin's message in the group chat. "Wow, Leo. 2 hours over family." That night, I walked past Blue Hour and didn't even look in. I knew what I'd find in the jacket pocket later. A receipt with a Tuesday date and the kind of line items that look like celebration. I knew what I'd find on Instagram, too. A filtered photo captioned, "Making time for what matters." I no longer needed to argue with it. The book would hold it up to light. Light does the work. They brought out the little plates with powdered sugar comets and a single candle riding a chocolate raft. Everyone did the polite chorus of happy birthday in restaurant voices, leaning in, clinking forks to harmonize. The manager gave me the smallest nod, "Now," and set down the linen-wrapped rectangle beside Nora's dessert. "What's this?" she asked, grinning. She tapped the cover through cloth. "You did not." "I did," I said, smiling like I'd bought her a cardigan. "Open it," her cousin said. "He's setting the bar for all of us." Maya tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and watched me, eyes sharp. She's the one who catches nuance for sport. She looked at my hands. They weren't shaking. That unnerved her. Nora slid the linen off like undressing a gift. The cover flashed the gold emboss. "The 2 hours you couldn't give me." She laughed first. A little confused cackle. "Okay, what is this?" She held it up for the group to see, gold letters glinting, as if context might appear if more people looked. "Open it," I said. "It's a memory book." Her cousin leaned in, already pre-loving whatever it was. Maya's boyfriend smirked into his napkin. The manager retreated to the edge of the room like a theater kid excited to see if the scene would land. Nora flipped the cover. Page 1 was a simple spread, our weekly calendar with color blocks. Monday to Sunday. Blue for we, green for me. Blue filled nearly everything. Tuesday had a green stripe from 6 to 8. Underneath, a caption, "How we actually spend time." Her smile faltered a millimeter. "This is cute," she said, careful. She turned the page. There were screenshots of our messages. Her "we hardly see each other" text juxtaposed with photos of us cooking, of Thursday night bill-paying sessions, of Friday's takeout bags and movie tickets. There were date stamps and little notes like, "April 14th. Helped you rehearse your presentation until 10:43 p.m. You nailed it next day. May 2nd. Built the bed frame together." You posted a heart. She turned another page. Our group chat where she'd posted, "Tuesdays are free because someone is a lone wolf," overlapped with our Wednesday dinners with Maya, our Sunday family photos. It was a museum of us, curated in loving fonts that I heard Maya exhale. She was doing the math silently. Nora's cousin murmured, "Ah," and then, "Huh." Her face didn't show panic yet, just confusion. She thought that maybe this was a rebuttal, petty but manageable. "Okay," she said, "I get it. We do spend time. I just meant quality time." She turned the page again, as if she could get ahead of it by speeding up. The next spread, transaction alerts from our joint card. 5 Tuesdays in a row, timestamp between 6:30 and 7:30 p.m. Blue Hour bar. On one side, the caption she'd posted, "Quality time is rare. Don't waste it." Timestamped 7:58. On the other, the register tape screenshots. No commentary. Just a quiet mirror held up to a face. She stopped moving. The air changed. Her cousin's fork tapped porcelain too loudly and froze mid-air. Maya's boyfriend squinted. "Is that?" "Receipts," Maya said softly, not taking her eyes off Nora. "Literally." Nora wet her lips. She flipped the page with 2 fingers like it might bite. There were the location dots. Her little gray bubble parked at Blue Hour. Dates aligned with the joint card pings. Across the gutter, a photo from Blue Hour's tag page, her clinking glasses, captioned "Saving my sanity with my girl." Next to it, her text to me the same evening, "Cooked for us. Shame you're not here," beneath a staged plate for one. "Leo," she said, voice carefully neutral. "Why are you tracking me?" You turned on location sharing, remember?" I kept my voice low for her. "Safety boy." I gestured at the page. "You made it public when it suited the story. I just put the public pieces in one place." She flipped again, faster now. There was the Tuesday we had to meet her cousin at 7. The cousin's own Instagram showed her at Blue Hour with 2 drinks. The caption, "Tuesdays with my favorite." My hand stayed folded. I said nothing. The book spoke. "Wow," the cousin said quietly. "I thought." She looked at Nora, cheeks blushing the color of guilt. "You said you were home waiting." Nora's voice thinned. "I was, for a bit, and then, you know what? This is creepy." She snapped the book closed like that could erase the pages. "You gathered evidence on me? For what? To embarrass me on my birthday? What is wrong with you?" Heads turned. Our table became a small stage. Forks hovered. Conversations at adjacent tables dimmed the way rooms do when someone breaks tone. "I didn't gather evidence to embarrass you," I said evenly. "I curated the facts, so I didn't spend the rest of our year arguing with a version of reality that wasn't real. You turned my 2 hours into a morality play. You told people I was neglecting you. You made me a villain for going on a walk. Meanwhile, you were at Blue Hour every Tuesday." "That's not the point," she said, a tremor entering her consonants. "You're missing the point. The point is you chose to be away when we could be together." "I chose to be a person," I said, not unkindly, "for 2 hours. And you punished me with a narrative that made you a martyr." "I didn't say you couldn't go out, Nora. I never said that. But you tried to make me stop existing separately. You wanted to own Tuesdays. So I audited them." She put her palms flat on the table. Her cousin shifted her chair an inch, as if to give her more room to inhale. Maya's eyes softened, then sharpened again. "Keep reading," Maya said quietly. Nora shot her a look. "Whose side are you on?" "The side of the truth," Maya said. "Just read." The manager, hovering at a distance like a sommelier of human drama, pretended to examine the wine rack. Nora opened the book back to where she'd been. She flipped to the last section, the letter. Her eyes scanned, left to right, left to right. I watched the words pass over her. "I asked for 120 minutes once a week so I wouldn't disintegrate. You turned those minutes into a morality test while taking yours in secret. I don't need you to want what I want. I need you to stop punishing me for wanting it." Then the boundary on the last page. "I'm moving out. The lease will be transferred to you." The photo of the keys in the dish. She looked up at me. Her mouth opened and closed soundlessly, like a fish who'd just discovered the river had walls. "You're leaving me? On my birthday?" The theater in her voice cracked. The hurt underneath was real, and it hit me in the ribs. I breathed. This wasn't the part to gloat. Revenge doesn't require glee to be complete. It requires clarity. "I'm leaving a dynamic," I said. "Not because you're a monster. Because I asked for air and you tried to shame me for breathing. Because you told our friends I was neglecting you while you were out toasting your sanity on the nights you accused me of taking it. Because I refused to argue another loop of this without a witness. And now we have a quiet record." The cousin whispered. "Nora." Maya put a hand on Nora's forearm. "He's not dumping you on your birthday," she said gently. "He's telling you what already happened because of the last 2 months. That's different." "You knew?" Nora asked her. Maya shook her head. "I suspected something wasn't matching the math. You've been framing him like he disappeared. But I see him. He shows up. Except on Tuesdays. And now I see why that matters. Also," she glanced at me, "this is remarkably restrained." Nora's cousin tried for a laugh that died in her throat. "Is this the part where we all argue about privacy?" She asked no one. "Because tagged you at Blue Hour, babe." She raised a hand halfway. "My bad." Nora pushed her chair back. It skittered an inch and squealed. She stood, book in hand, like she didn't know whether to throw it or hug it. "I cannot believe you did this," she said. "You turned our life into exhibits." "No," I said softly. "You did when you made it public without the facts. I turned it back into evidence." Her eyes filled. She looked down at the last page again, the keys, the finality. She looked back at me. Around us, the restaurant took a collective breath. The way you do when you know something tender is about to be set down on a hard surface. Don't do this, she said, voice small now. We can fix it. I hope you fix you, I said. I hope I fix me. I kept my voice from breaking by treating each word like a brick set exactly where it needed to go. But I'm not going to prove my love by forfeiting my oxygen. I tried to ask. You tried to shame. Now I'm choosing. She lowered back into her chair like gravity remembered her. She put the book on the table. Her finger traced the gold letters once, twice. She didn't cry. Not then. She just nodded. A series of tiny nods, like a sin eater swallowing. The manager materialized like a conjurer, regret plastered across his face and a free dessert in his hands as if sugar could fill a crater. For the table, he murmured, setting down a plate of eclairs. No one touched them. After the check, we walked outside. The evening air felt like a soft hand on the back of my neck. I told her I'd be by at 9 the next morning to get my boxes. She stared at the sidewalk. You already packed, she said, not a question. I did. And you already have a place. I do. She laughed once, a bark. Of course you do. You and your neatness. Then softer. You could have told me. I did, I said. For 6 Tuesdays. She blinked rapidly, like trying to clear a contact that wouldn't settle. Okay, she said. Okay. She walked away toward the rideshare line, shoulders squared like armor the size of a coat. Maya leaned against the brick beside me while we waited for our own car. You good? She asked. No, I said. But I'm right. It wasn't triumph. It was a clean wound. She hugged me. That book, she said. God, that was something. It had to be quiet, I said. I didn't want to win. I wanted to stop drowning in a story where I'm the villain for having lungs. The studio smelled like fresh paint and cardboard. Sun came in fat and lazy through the west window, pooling on the floorboards like something you could drink. I set the boxes down and sat on one. My thighs remembered the shape of the old couch. My ears remembered the tone of our shows. The silence here wasn't empty. It was a clean counter waiting for dinner that I didn't post. I didn't subtweet. I didn't write a thread about boundaries and martyrdom because life has enough threads. I texted our landlord to start the paperwork transfer. I emailed the utility companies. I poured myself coffee in a mismatched mug because I hadn't bought new ones yet. I went to work. I answered emails. I did what you do when the life you had yesterday is folded in a closet somewhere you no longer live. At lunch, my phone lit up. The group chat. The cousin had sent a message, love you both. No taking sides. But wow, I learned something about myself last night. Maya sent a long one. If anyone in this chat has ever made their partner feel guilty for needing time alone while taking theirs in secret, maybe look at your Tuesday. There were a few heart reacts, a few nervous laugh emojis. There was a silence where Nora usually would have cracked a joke. She texted me privately at 3:12 p.m. I took the day off. It hurts. A minute later, I'm not mad anymore. I'm just sad. Then, can we talk this weekend? Not to undo it. Just to talk. I wrote back, yes. Sunday afternoon at the cafe near the bookstore. The weekend came heavy and slow, like a dog lying across your feet. I went to the grocery store alone and discovered I don't know what size rice to buy for one person. I discovered that cleaning a studio takes 15 minutes and feels like virtue. I discovered that the quiet between songs on my playlist is its own song. Sunday at the cafe, she arrived in a sweater I'd bought her last fall. It made her eyes look greener. She sat. We didn't hug. We sat with mugs like props. The cafe hummed with low conversation and milk steam. The place that had been my Tuesday sanctuary now held a summit. I read the book again, she said. Alone. I nodded. I hated you for 20 minutes, she said. Then I hated me. Her laugh was a dry scrape. Then I hated that it was my birthday. Then I hated that I cared about it being my birthday. I didn't do it because of your birthday, I said. I did it because that's when we'd all already be together, and I couldn't bear a private argument with no witness anymore. I know, she said. It was strategic. It was cruel adjacent. It was also the only way I would have. Listen, we looked at our hands because contact had always been a kind of intimacy that demanded clean windows, I realized. Something after I got past being defensive, she said. I wasn't mad about Tuesdays. I was scared of what they meant. My dad left when my mom started taking a pottery class. Isn't that stupid? I was 8. They fought for months, and he would sneer and say she wanted a life that didn't include him, and then he left for a woman from his office who didn't like clay. I think that wired me to hear, I need 2 hours as I will replace you. So I preemptively replaced you with an idea of me. The girl at Blue Hour. The one who is fine. And I punished you for the hole my dad left. I pressed my lips together. My jaw did its old ache. I tasted copper. Empathy, that noble drug, warmed the edge of the wound and then cooled. I'm sorry your 8-year-old got dragged into our Tuesdays, I said. She deserved better. She smiled without pride. She did. We sat with it. The way you sit with a sleeping dog and don't move because you don't want to wake the tenderness. I'm not asking you to come back, she said finally. I know this isn't a puzzle we can put back together this month. Maybe not at all. But I wanted to say the thing I couldn't say when I was busy being right. She looked at me, and the room sharpened like the focus ring found the subject. You weren't selfish. You were smart enough to know you were disappearing. You asked for a line. I tried to erase it. Then I lied about what I was doing with my own time and called it protecting us. That's on me. I didn't want to humiliate you, I said. I wanted to stop feeling insane. To stop arguing with fog. I thought if I said it in front of people who love us, the story would have to pick a spine. It did, she said. She swallowed. They're all mad at me. Not loudly. Worse. Quietly. The cousin told me she was embarrassed about the tags. Maya sent me 3 articles about enmeshment that I haven't read yet. I'm not a villain, Leo. Her eyes filled but didn't spill. But I was wrong. I know you're not a villain, I said. That's why the book didn't have jokes. Just facts. My voice shook for the first time. I loved you. I still love the part of you that squeezes toothpaste from the bottom and rolls it up like the world will end if we waste a centimeter. I love the part that tells me when my shirt is inside out kindly. But I can't be with the part that thinks I have to prove my love by erasing the part of me that goes quiet when I walk. She laughed a real laugh then, short and surprised. Always with the neatness, she said. You make heartbreak sound like a spreadsheet. It was a ledger, I said. I balanced it. We drank coffee like a truce. When we stood, we didn't hug, but we didn't avoid it either. We walked out into a Sunday that felt like a fresh page. The fallout rippled but didn't drown either of us. She leaned into therapy like it was a rope thrown toward a bank. She texted me once, weeks later, to say that her therapist had asked her to write a letter to her 8-year-old self, and it made her cry in a good way. I hearted it and wrote, "Proud of you." I didn't add "me too." I didn't need to. Our friend group adjusted. The cousin stopped subtweeting and started sending me pictures of her cat instead. Maya invited me to trivia night on Wednesdays, carefully not Tuesdays. We answered questions about obscure capital cities and 90s one-hit wonders and laughed until the bartender told us to keep it down. The DMs softened. The couch posts stopped. Or maybe they just didn't arrive at my screen anymore. And Tuesdays, they became what they were supposed to be in the first place. A small shrine to whatever made me feel like my days weren't laminated. Sometimes it was the gym. Sometimes it was this cafe. Sometimes I walked to the river and stood there while the water pretended it was new water and the ducks pretended they were not repeating themselves. Sometimes I did nothing special, and that was the point. A person isn't a machine. A relationship isn't a battery. It's a circuit that only works when both nodes are alive. The revenge, yes, it was revenge, wasn't about ruin. It was about returning the narrative to the scene of the facts and setting boundaries with a bow so the people who needed to see would see. She weaponized free time is little. I dismantled the weapon by showing time's ledger. She staged a martyrdom. I showed the receipts. I didn't slash tires. I didn't torch reputations. I turned light on. Light did what it always does. It made the roaches hide and the decent people adjust their eyes and the rest recalibrate. Months later, I walked past Blue Hour at 6:58 on a Tuesday. Out of habit, out of muscle memory, out of nothing more than curiosity. Elliot, the manager, recognized me and gave me a salute through the glass. I saluted back. Inside, 2 women clinked a pair of sweating cocktails under a DJ's early set. They looked like they were saving their sanity. Good. Save it. Spend it. Just don't take someone else's and call it ours. Back in my studio, the window burned gold. I set down a loaf of bread and a book and my keys in a dish I'd bought at a thrift store, a dish I'd labeled mine. The label wasn't because I was done with ours. It was because ours is only sweet when mine and yours are intact. I sliced the bread. I ate a heel piece with butter that tasted like a small kindness. I sat on the floor because I still hadn't bought a couch. I didn't need one yet. The floor held. The book, the literal one, lives on my shelf. Not because I need to gloat. Because sometimes, when I doubt myself, I pull it down and remember that neatness can be a form of mercy. When you tell the truth in order, it can teach even the parts of you that prefer chaos that love includes doorways as well as handholds. And when someone says, free time is little, I nod. Then I protect 2 hours like I'm guarding a fire in a rainstorm. Because sometimes the smallest flame is the thing that keeps you from mistaking a warm cage for a home. 2 hours. That was the line. Not the length, what it represented. It was the difference between being a boyfriend and being an appliance, between loving someone and being swallowed whole. I didn't punish with malice. I curated with light. I didn't scream gotcha. I handed over a ledger. Did it hurt? Yes. Good revenge always hurts a little because it amputates the diseased part so the rest can heal. Did it work? Also yes. She faced her story. I left mine. Our friends adjusted their lens. And every Tuesday, when the city exhales into evening and the neon outside blue hour blinks awake, I put my phone in my pocket and walk without rushing. I breathe like I paid for the right. If you take anything from this, let it be this. Boundaries are not walls around love. They're rails that keep the train from tipping into a field. If someone calls your rails selfish while sneaking off to ride their own, bring the facts into daylight. Do it neatly. Do it kindly. Do it where the narrative can't squirm. Then go for your walk. If you've ever been shamed for protecting your oxygen, tell me your Tuesday in the comments. Hit like if the receipts hit harder than any shouting match ever could. And subscribe for more long-form stories where boundaries are the hero and selfish is just what control calls freedom. New narrations every week.